She looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. But what happened next is what separates those who stay broken from the women who rise again. Her name was Maya. 28, camera phone photos tucked away, a pile of unpaid bills on the kitchen counter, a job that applauded her smile but ignored her voice. She was finishing a late-night class, then catching the early bus to a shift where nobody learned her name. She loved hard and quietly, and sometimes she loved herself less. Her dreams were small now: a quiet apartment, a night off, a meal that didn't feel like survival. The silence after the phone call is the kind that presses on your chest. He said what everyone feared: maybe we need time. The words were gentle and precise, like a surgeon's cut. The apartment smelled like coffee gone cold. Outside, a siren wailed and then moved on. Inside, her breath was loud. She sat on the floor with the phone in her hand and wondered how she had become so small, how her laugh had become background noise in other people's stories. She kept going because that's what she'd always done. She smiled at work. She turned in assignments. She reheated dinner in the same chipped bowl. But there was a weight to her movements now, the kind that makes you drag one foot before the other, as if gravity has a list of things to take from you. Some mornings, she woke before dawn and watched the light crawl up the wall, thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe this is all there is. And then, what no one saw was the way she learned to hold herself in the quiet. She stopped apologizing for small things. She let a plate sit without clearing it immediately. She started saying the word no, a shaky, unfamiliar consonant that felt like a muscle she'd never used. But when she tried, the echo of that no sounded different. Not sharp, not mean, simply true. But then, one night, the power cut out. The building lost light. In the dark, the city was a softer thing. Maya opened her window and the autumn air folded into her small kitchen. She found, on the windowsill, a seed packet left by a neighbor, a mismatched, handwritten scrap that said, "For light. Plant something." The handwriting was messy. The idea seemed silly. She had no soil, just a jar and some coffee grounds. She laughed, the sound catching on a cough. She planted one seed in the jar anyway. What nobody expected was how stubborn that seed would be. She watered it with dishwater, with the last of her coffee. She read one paragraph of a book and then another, not to escape but to learn how to ask for more. Night after night, she watched a green finger push through dark soil. It was small. It was ridiculous. It was terribly alive. And here's where it changes. One morning she took the plant to work in a plastic cup and set it near the window. The plant was a small witness to all the tiny things she was quietly choosing, staying when she could have walked away, answering yes to her own needs, finishing the errands she'd repeatedly postponed. People noticed, not because she demanded notice, but because the plant made a story that people could see. This woman tended life. A coworker asked about it. She told the story of the seed. A classmate asked how she balanced work and school. She said, one small habit at a time. The questions were soft like rain, and the voice inside that had been whispering, enough, became keener. In her darkest night she heard it clearly, you are not weak. You are waiting to rise. That whisper did not thunder. It did not promise sudden miracles. It offered one thing, permission. Permission to be small and stubborn at the same time. Permission to plant something and let the seasons teach her how to grow it. The truths she learned were not poetic in the beginning. They came in ordinary bruises and tiny victories. Truth 1. Her scars were not shame, they were a map. They showed the paths she had walked and the places she had survived. Each faded line meant she had once been wounded and had nonetheless kept walking. Truth 2. Silence is not surrender. Sometimes silence is the space you need to hear your own name without everyone else's definitions layered over it. Truth 3. Waiting is not the same as wasting. Some things require time, not because you're not ready, but because strength is being formed like a muscle that aches before it becomes steady. And the next truth cut even deeper. She didn't need someone to declare her whole. No endorsement could replace the quiet, daily acts that made her steady. Paying her bills on time, voicing a plan in a meeting, turning down a date that felt like a hollow theater. These were small constants, stitched together into the fabric of a life that would not break at the first test. But this one changed her forever. She stopped asking for permission to be luminous. She stopped shrinking to keep others comfortable. She learned to let her laugh be a storm in the middle of the room and her tears be the map to where she was healing. She learned that bravery is often messy, a cracked cup held together with tape and still used for coffee every morning. You see, the work of becoming is quiet and stubborn. It is not a headline. It is showing up when your hands tremble. It is speaking when your throat is raw. It is choosing the plant again and again, even if the world calls it foolish. Maya's days built up like ledger entries. One small choice, then another. Weeks turned into months. The plant grew, and so did her sense of possibility. She applied for a new position at work and did not let herself shrink from the application. She prepared, she rehearsed, and when the call came, the one that offered something she had not dared to imagine, she did not doubt her right to accept it. Her voice, once a soft currency used only in service of others, found its volume. Her hands trembled, then steadied as she spoke a boundary that held. But the real lesson wasn't what she gained. It was what she refused to lose, herself. She refused to trade her small truths for the illusion of ease. She refused to let other people's timelines become the script of her life. The victory was private and public at once. Her life began to reflect a woman who had tended her own light. So, my friend, if you have ever felt invisible, broken, or not enough, remember this: your cracks are not your end. They are the beginning of your light. Your quiet acts are the hammer and the thread and the water. Your waiting might be the soil where strength takes root. Where is this story taking you? Into your own choice of strength. What is it leaving you with? Self-worth, a stubborn hope, and permission to be both small and fierce. You are not broken. You are becoming. Like this video. Subscribe for more real and life-changing stories every day. Share this with someone who needs to hear, you are not broken. You are becoming.